Hi, welcome to the Wardenberg Family Farm. Today I'm going to bring you along into my high tunnel and show you what's growing and what I have to do. So come along. So it's July 9th and it's a very muggy, hot morning. It's going to be like 90-some this afternoon, but it's already hot and muggy. So muggy and humid that my glasses keep fogging up. Guess right there's a reason maybe I should go back to contact lenses, huh? So before I actually take you inside the tunnel, I'll show you a few things that are growing outside my tunnel. I just have a few different herbs. I have mountain mint, which is it's a very, very strong mint, but it's also a native plant to Pennsylvania.
Why do they look frosty on the top?
That's just how the leaves look. That's how they grow. And I use them a lot in my flower bouquets for filler because they just look so cool. I mean, stuck in amongst a bunch of other different flowers, they're gorgeous. I love them. I love the smell. But I have like lemon balm, dill. I just have a bunch of herbs out here along the front. So now come into the main part. Well, this time of the year, it's getting very full and lush in here and can almost feel like a jungle, which I love. So I'll just take you down the rows and show you what I have growing. But I do have
what are you working on in here today, too? You're working today.
I know. It's going to be very hot, so I got to get it done in the morning before it gets even hotter. But I have some fig trees, which is another thing I don't know that much about. Somebody gave me some fig trees, and they survived over the winter inside, and in the garage to start with, and then in the grow room. And it got sun scald when it came out, see?
Is that the sun scald?
Yeah, I should have had put some shade cloth over it till it got used to the sun. That was my mistake. But he's recovering nicely. And then there's a little one on the other side that I actually propagated from the big one.
So this is the...
That's the little guy. He's the baby. And I actually have figs on the big one, but I need to do some studying and learn about figs just to know better how to take care of them. And I don't know.
You need to go visit that other farm.
Oh yeah, there's a farm out here that grows tons of fig trees. So, but I have a lot to learn in that area.
Yeah.
But that's something to do. Looking at all my flowers.
Yeah.
Let's start over on the first row, and the whole first row is flowers. Well, okay. Mostly.
All right.
All right, this is the first row, but there's actually a bunch of stuff before you hit the regular first row. I did ginger in pots this year. We'll see how it works. I'm not sure, because then if it's not completely done at the end of the season, because they take a long time to grow, I can actually take them in the grow room. So I don't know. That's another experiment. And all these little pots around the front are things I propagated. There's currant bushes and josta berries from the chicken yard that I propagated, and I want to put more in the chicken yard and actually want to grow josta berries for us. I had never tasted them. I bought them for the chicken yard.
So what'd you do, 4 of them?
I have ended up with 2 josta berries and 3 currants. This last guy doesn't look too healthy, but these other ones are great.
Okay.
But we tasted josta berries, the ones that are growing in the chicken yard the other day. They're delicious, so I want to grow some for us. I mean, they're great food for the chickens to have in their yard, but I like them for us too now. And I have 3 mums that I propagated. They're a deep, dark burgundy mum. I hope to do a whole video on propagation, but I'm still learning.
You like that, don't you?
What's that?
Propagating.
Well, I like getting plants for free.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of breaking them off, rooting them, and potting them. So it's fun. And you'll see coral or bells of Ireland all over the tunnel. I actually tried to start that from seed about 3 years ago, and I got 1 plant to finally grow, and I was excited, but it was a big struggle. Well, every year since then, the seeds must be extremely prolific and seed easily, because I have bells of Ireland all over the tunnel now, which I like because they're nice for cut flowers. And if they come up somewhere I don't want them in the spring, I just move them somewhere I do. So, but they're everywhere. And nasturtium is everywhere. It's supposed to keep away pests. I don't know if it does. And you can actually eat nasturtium. It has a peppery taste to it. But they're just pretty. They're all different colors. I love them. And
this one seems to be all orange.
It is. But there's different colors all throughout the tunnel and in the garden too.
Okay.
Different shades. And then most of these next ones are flowers I use in my cut flower bouquets at the farm stand. And I tried a bunch of new things this year that I've never grown before.
And these things are cute.
That's one right there. They're called bunny tails. I mean, they're the cutest little thing in the world.
Yeah.
Now some of them are starting to go to seed. I need to get some of these pulled off of here. Like he's starting to get his little fuzzy seeds there. They're nicer when they're just like kind of like that. But they look beautiful in little flower bouquets. And this next one I've never grown. I think it's called starflower, not straw flower, starflower. And I think that's actually the seed pod is what you use. But isn't that stunning?
Yeah.
Because the flower itself,
Looks like a globe.
the flower's okay, you know?
Yeah.
But the seed pod is just interesting. I can't wait till they get bigger and I can start using them and cut flowers.
Now,
And-
where did you run across that?
Well, I was watching a YouTube video, best cut flowers or best fillers for cut flowers, because they're more like a filler. They're not the main attraction in a flower arrangement. And I just thought, well, I'll experiment with them. So I planted a bunch of different seeds. But then there's a problem. I forget what I planted. These are something I started this year. They look kind of like these, but they're not. They're different. So I don't know what either of them are called. I'll have to look it up and see if I can put it in the thing. But these are just now starting to bloom. They're going to be beautiful.
Okay.
This plant actually is dying. I'm not sure what's wrong with him. But I have a bunch of them, and they are, look at the flowers on those. They're just,
They look like that, what is that, lace?
they look like Queen Anne's lace, and it might be some kind of hybrid Queen Anne's lace. I have to look that up too. But again, I like to experiment, so things like the bunny tails, I'll definitely plant the bunny tails next year. I just might not plant quite as many. I don't need that many. They produce quite a few little bunny tails on each plant. And even these, I know I'll plant less of them, and I'll tie them up right off the bat, because they just, I had no idea they were that tall.
Do you
So
have
they're-
any that are dried flowers?
Yes, I do, actually. That's next. How did you know that?
That almost sounds like a setup, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it wasn't. He has no idea.
Here,
I have straw flowers. So they're star flowers, but these are straw flowers. And
Okay.
very soon, they're just about the whole way open. I'll cut that off and dry them.
So that was all dumb luck.
That was dumb luck. And there's actually, I guess the other dried flowers are in the garden. I have status that I grow and dry. Now the next ones are celosia. They're just kind of funky filler flowers. They look cute in amongst of other things. Well, and you'll see snapdragons all over the place in the tunnel, because I grew them last year and they came up all over the place.
To me, they look like what's the one that's like that, except it's a redder,
I don't know.
that has the red spears shooting up. Okay.
I don't know. Huh, I don't know. But I actually have one yellow in here. He's just not quite blooming yet.
That looks like one that just hasn't
He
matured.
hasn't quite opened the whole way up yet.
Okay. But
He'll be-
that's the
he'll be
color
pretty.
it gets, huh?
It's going to be a yellowish, more yellow
Okay.
than what that shows.
All right.
Well, then there's a little break in the flower for 5 tomatoes. And these are something I can't wait to taste when they get ripe. They're called champagne bubbles, cherry tomatoes. They're supposed to be the sweetest cherry tomato out there. But they're growing. They just haven't ripened yet. They're a yellow tomato. So I just can't wait to taste them. They're not doing great, though. They don't have quite as many cherry tomatoes on as the other ones do.
No,
so-
they don't.
No, so they might be sweet, but they might not have any. We'll see what they do. It's an experiment. But again, there's nasturtium. I didn't plant any of that nasturtium. It just kind of comes up.
So you have a giant at the end of the row.
Well, I have a couple giants in here. I had sunflowers in here a few years ago, and I had them on the end row, like the outside wall, which is not smart because they're huge, and they ended up, pushing up against the plastic. So they keep coming up from seeds years before, and I just move them to where I want them. Now this one I didn't move. He just came up there, but he's not going to interfere with anything, so I just let him there. And I let it for a couple reasons. They're pretty. And once they go to seed, like these right here, I'll be chopping these off today and giving them to the chickens.
Okay.
So I'll just climb up there, chop all the dead ones off. See, they actually, if you look, I don't know if I can reach them.
Oh, look at the bees.
There's seeds in there, see?
Oh, yeah.
There's seeds in there. As soon as they start going over, they're looking down,
Yeah.
their seeds are formed, and the chickens
Yeah.
can eat them. Yeah, the bees like them. It does attract pollinators, there's no doubt about it.
Well, this one must be pretty special. There are a bunch
Oh,
of
they're
bees.
happy little bees, aren't they? You can just hear them buzzing around.
You look on their legs. See the yellow on
Yeah.
their legs?
They are coated in pollen.
That's pollen.
Oh yeah, that's why I grow the
Those two
sunflowers.
honeybees are going to win the prize today, I think, for the most
They
pollen.
might.
They can barely fly
The
with so
Bee
much
Hall
pollen.
of Fame.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, in the
You
end
know
of the
what?
first, what?
It's getting warm out here. How come we didn't do this earlier?
I'm a morning person. The cameraman is not a morning person, so until I get him out here to start filming and do this, it's already hot. But that's life. So at the very end of the tomato row are some snapdragons that popped up all over the tunnel, and I just kind of replanted them over here.
Well, wait a minute. I did get up pretty early. What, like 6:30, 7, 6:45?
The sun comes up shortly after 5. It's a beautiful morning out here at 5. It might be humid, but it's not as hot. Now see, I'm not keeping up with these because a lot of them are already going to seed.
Where? How do you?
Right here,
how
those
can
are
you
the
tell?
seeds. When they get the big lumps like that, that's the seeds of the snapdragons. And see, that's how I ended up with so many in the tunnel. I didn't get them out of here, and the seeds just, they reseeded themselves and they're growing everywhere.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what kind of bug this is. What is that? Look at the bug eating that. What's a weed? Which actually, that weed is a kind of a thistle. Look at that. I'm not sure what exact kind it is, but it is miserable. It shoots off the big, heavy-duty root system all over, and it's almost impossible to get rid of.
Yeah.
It shoots up all through the tunnel, so I'm still battling that one.
So, talk about prolific.
Yeah. These are good cherry tomatoes. Look at them. I forget if they're super sweet. Yeah, this one's super sweet. I think this one's large red cherry, one of them.
Okay. Yeah, they are larger.
Yeah.
But
oh,
that's
so
what
good.
you expect to see.
That's what I like on cherry
mean-
tomatoes.
Yeah, just look at this here.
Yep.
The whole way down.
That's what this whole second row is all tomatoes.
They're almost set like grapes.
Yeah, they are. Just a big, long,
Yeah.
I don't know what it would be called, thing of cherry tomatoes. But it's all just varying types of tomatoes. I have Cherokee Purple, a new one called Pink ID or Pink Kid, I don't know what it is, P-I-N-K-I-D, from Johnny's. And that's a new one I never did. I have a new one called Paul Robeson.
Well, let's go down there and look.
So this is the whole second row of tomatoes. And if you notice between each tomato, I have some basil. I have holy basil, I have Thai basil, I have a large leaf Italian basil, and then I have a regular Genovese basil.
Okay, now what kind is this right here I'm looking at?
This is actually, I'm not sure. It looks different than the rest. That's a good question. Because he doesn't look like the rest of them. This, I think, is the large leaf Italian, because it's a large, I have to look at the exact name. But look how tall it gets. And I've picked this a couple times and sold it at the farm stand, which I need to pick a bunch soon and freeze dry it for us. That's on my list. I have a long list. And one thing I have to do in here today is to come along and clip these up. I take the bottom branches off. I'll do one for you and show you, but I take the bottom branches off, look for any suckers, and then clip the top up just to make sure it doesn't break off. But I mean, I just did this probably 10 days ago, so it's grown that much in 10 days because I would have clipped it at the top. So yeah, some of these, they go crazy. And suckers, there's just suckers galore that grow.
Let me see, wait a minute. Show me close here where the sucker.
I just cut one out. Let me see if I can find a good example. Right here, here's a little sucker. You have the main tomato stem, okay, it goes up, and then there's branches that shoot out. Between the main branch and the branch, side branch, you have a sucker. It's called in the armpit of the tomato, between the branch, the main stem and the branch. That's a sucker. You pop those babies out.
Okay.
And look, up here's a big sucker.
Oh yeah.
Now, if you get really big suckers, see, he's gone. If you get really, I should clip them out. If you get really big suckers, you can actually, and I've done it a couple places, I'll have to figure out where I did it. I will take the large sucker and I just dig a big hole, stick it in the ground where there's an irrigation tape, and it'll grow into a new tomato, which saves you a lot of time because you can't start tomatoes from seed now, it's July 9th. But if you get a really big sucker, you can stick it in the ground, you'll get tomatoes before the end of the season. So, free tomato plant if you miss a sucker, which I've done. So, just more tomatoes. But they're growing really well. See the ones down there and the end going up?
Oh yeah.
Those are cherry tomatoes.
Okay. They're all the way up
They're
past
way up to the
the
ceiling of the
bottom
tunnel.
cord truss and headed toward the plastic.
Yeah, so I got to figure out, I might just take them over. I got to figure out how I'm going to do that at the top. I think I'll probably put a string and just start taking them across that way.
Okay. So you got flowers here.
Yes, and my zinnias have powdery mildew. Bad.
Yeah.
I haven't sprayed them with anything. I need to do something. I just
Okay.
haven't had time.
I'll do that today for you.
We will. Yeah, because I think copper fungicide will take care of it.
Yeah.
So come on down to the beginning and we'll start down the next row.
Okay.
So this is row number 3, third row on that side. And the first thing you see are the snapdragons. I mean, some of these are just I love bouquets just of snapdragons, all the different colors. They're beautiful. And I put the flowers toward the front of the tunnel, so that's like the first thing I see when I walk in. I mean, I use them for the cut flowers at the farm stand, but it's just cheery to walk in the tunnel and see flowers.
So you have a setup here though.
Yes, this is the first year I did this. This little netting you're supposed to feed them through, because snapdragons just fall over and, you know, and then they bend kind of crooked, grow crooked. This is working pretty well. I haven't been able to keep up with it and put it at the height I want. It just kind of pushes up with the flowers. But it's working better than nothing, I can tell you that.
And where did you get that, or what is it?
I think I just got it on Amazon. Flower netting or something like that. I'll look up the exact link and I'll put it in the description below.
Okay.
But it is working. I've used it for the snapdragons and for zinnias.
Because I know it's frustrating. Last year you'd have a beautiful head, but then the stem was as crooked as all get out.
And zinnias would just fall right out in the middle of the aisle, block the aisle, and break off at the stem. So, see, I'm not keeping up with keeping them all inside it. So some of them are still falling out.
So you use them on the zinnias as well?
Yes, but I mean the ones that are in the middle, it did work perfectly. I just did not keep them all in there.
It's just a matter of raising them up as the stems get taller.
And just feeding the ones that grow on the outside through before they're so tall you can't get them through.
Oh, that one's laying out.
Yep, so I need to come along and just cut some of those off because they're just going to be bent.
So you won't be able to use that one really, it's so crooked.
No, I could use it in a bouquet for us.
Yeah.
Take in our house. But the zinnias, I've never had powdery mildew this bad.
Okay.
It's on the list. Oh, and I just stepped on something here. It just came up. I was curious. This just came up. I didn't plant it. I didn't know what it was. I knew it was some kind of a squash in the squash family, but I thought I'm going to let it grow and see what it is. Now, where's the one that's growing? Somewhere in here is. Turns out it's a spaghetti squash, which I'm happy it came up. I forgot to plant spaghetti squash this year. So at least I have one spaghetti squash plant, and I'm getting some spaghetti squash. So, I mean, it's not a good idea for a tunnel because it takes up a lot of room. I just keep trying to direct the things down the row and keep them on the side. But, nice accident. But after we passed all the flowers, the next thing in this row are all peppers.
Oh, I see some peppers on there.
Yeah, and they're purple. And the interesting thing is I didn't seed any purple peppers this year.
Oh, look at the size of that one.
So I must have had purple peppers in some other seed.
Peter Piper pecked a peck of purple peppers.
That's pickled peppers, silly. Oh. But I have cherry tomatoes, peppers. I have cherry peppers, jalapeno peppers, and then I have green, yellow, red, and orange. So, but they're all doing nicely. And I actually have a string on them too, just to keep them from falling completely over. Oh, there's one I need to pick. Down there's a ginormous one.
Oh yeah.
We'll have peppers at the farm stand tomorrow. Ooh, cool.
Yep, and there you go. Do you tie them onto the string?
Yeah, just one branch, maybe two. Because the peppers, especially as the peppers get heavy, sometimes they'll break branches right off. I probably need to put a few more strings to get some of the other branches that have branched out. But yeah, but they're doing great. I haven't really looked at them much. So the row on that side of the aisle was snapdragons, zinnias, and peppers. This side is also snapdragons, zinnias, and peppers. But I'm doing an experiment. Can you tell I like to play around and see what happens? I put some strawberries in the tunnel. I saw somebody on YouTube did it, and that way we will get some strawberries really, really early. Now what I need to do is take some of these runners and plant them further along the row. But I'm just gonna do a little patch of strawberries in the tunnel and see how early we get them next year. Well, there's also one asparagus back there that I didn't plant. It just came up, but hey, I'll have one asparagus plant in the tunnel. It'll be early.
You have all kinds of volunteers in here, don't you?
I do. So that kind of makes it fun, you know?
Yeah, you never know.
So that's the first 4 rows. Row number 5 is all cucumbers.
There was a philosopher that once said, life is like a box of chocolates.
You never know what you're gonna get. Mine could be, oh my gosh, I missed him, look. That's a ginormous cucumber. I gotta pick him today. But if you look down my row of cucumbers, you'll notice there's some. Well, our battery ran dead, so it's a little bit later in the day and even hotter. And we have fans we can run in here, but we can't run them while we're filming because it'll make too much noise. So just ignore the sweat dripping off of me. But this is real life on the homestead. You gotta do what you gotta do. First, I gotta get some of these cucumbers off of here. Look at these, they're beautiful. And here's this big guy. I think we're having him for lunch with some good salad dressing. Look at that. And I'll have to go down the road and see if there's any more. But just to finish the tour, this whole row is cucumbers. I think that's where I left off. And the last row is all tomatoes. The ones on that end are all sauce tomatoes, my Amish paste.
So these are still all indeterminate down here.
Except for a few that are determinate.
Okay.
And I don't think I'll do determinate again. I let them grow. I have cages around them, let them kind of grow crazy. But there's no airflow, and they did get aphids. They do have some yucky stuff on them, so I think I will only be doing indeterminate tomatoes that I can single stem and keep cleaned out and keep, you know, virus-free, bug-free. Although some of my tomatoes, this heat has taken its toll on some of the tomato plants. So I definitely have some branches to snip off. The tunnel needs some serious maintenance. And just direct some cucumbers where to go, because they've reached the top. I'm taking them over across.
So, okay, so you use the clips on the tomatoes. What do you do on the
For
cucumbers?
the cucumbers, I use a clip to hold it on at the very beginning.
Okay.
After that, I just wind it around the string.
So you just wind it around.
Yeah, just keep winding,
That's
winding.
a heavier stem or stalk.
And just like tomatoes,
Yeah.
I come through and clip the bottom couple leaves off.
Huh.
Now I won't leave them in the tunnel. I'll take them out. If you leave things like that, it can create some diseases and virus. So I'll pick up all the stuff I cut off and get it out.
Yeah.
But this is a sick cucumber. I think I'm just going to have to tear him out and get him out of here. Oh, I know what I was starting to tell you when the battery went dead. The cucumber row has some big ones and some small ones. Because the very first crop of cucumbers I planted, the pill bugs or roly-polies, or I forget all the names, ate them off to the ground, except for like 5.
Okay.
So they're the huge ones, the ones that are up to the ceiling and going.
That's what they should all look like.
Yes.
Had your original.
If the first planting had lived, I would have cucumbers like this, and I'd probably have some like this coming along behind as a second crop. But instead, I had to transplant the first crop and get more going as fast as possible.
So is this one ready to go right here?
Yes, he is.
There you go. Boom.
There's even more down
Well-
there. There's more. I got to go pick a ton of cucumbers.
It's
And
not
tomatoes. I
hard
have
to
to-
find the ones that need
I have to
picked.
pick tomatoes today. We actually pick tomatoes before they're completely ripe. We pick them when they're called blushing, which some of these are way past blushing. As soon as they start getting a little bit of red on the bottom or color on the bottom, we pick them and take them in the house to ripen. They have everything they need. They don't taste any better ripening inside than ripening on the vine. And it keeps them from getting eaten by anything, keeps them from cracking.
So there's nothing beneficial for them staying
No,
on the
there's
vine.
no reason to leave them on the vine.
No, they have everything they need.
Yep, and then the vine can put its energy into growing more tomatoes, bigger and stronger and healthier.
That's pretty much industry practice, isn't it?
I guess. I
Yeah,
don't know. Some
it
home
is.
gardeners swear they're better off the vine, but they're delicious.
Yeah.
Cured in the house, so finishing ripening in the house.
Yep.
But yeah, there's a lot of work to do in the tunnel today.
All right. Well, we're going to tag along and watch you do a little bit of work.
Okay.
Even
you
if
watch
we have
me.
to turn the fan on.
We might have to.
Okay.
I'm sweating a lot. It's not just hot, it's humid. That makes a difference.
Yeah, it's about 90%. Outside it is. It's higher than that in the tunnel here.
Yeah. So we need to get some fans going.
Okay.
Well, before we turn the fans on, you can't hear anything. I'm growing cardboard. We keep all of our cardboard boxes that we receive from packages. I take all the tape off, all the labels, and we use that as weed prevention. You lay it down around your plants or around your bushes around the house, anywhere. Put big, thick layers of cardboard, put some mulch or wood chips on top of that, and it prevents weeds. And it decomposes and helps the soil. So
Okay.
there's a lot of cardboard around this homestead.
So this is the cardboard, and then those are your harvesting bins
Yes.
on the table.
Yes, so we actually have to move those so we can turn the fan on, because these things have to have free airflow.
So that's just the louvers.
But I actually need 2 of those because I'll be picking tomatoes. So,
All right.
but yeah, this tunnel is very much a working tunnel. Not always neat and tidy, but very functional and pretty with some flowers in it. That enough, or I gotta get the ones over there too?
Yeah, one's on the other side, and I think that'll do it.
Maybe you can get those.
I'll go, let's go turn the fans on so folks can see your fans.
Okay. Okay, you got a bird nest up here. Beginning of a bird nest. Now there's some air moving. Now I'm ready to work.
So what are you doing today? Working?
Tomato maintenance.
Okay.
Start by cutting off the lower branches. Make sure you don't cut off any trusses of tomatoes, which I've done.
So how do you decide how many branches you get rid of?
It's a judgment call, but I mean, these cherry tomatoes have so many leaves. They have plenty of photosynthesis. They don't need all these branches down here. So I think the airflow is more important at this point. And this is one I actually double stemmed. You see it has one main thing coming up, splits into two, and I have it tied up by two stems. And look how tall it is, even split in two.
Yeah.
And loaded with tomatoes.
And there's the sun shining through, beating down.
So, climb up my handy dandy step stool. I'm looking for suckers. Sucker.
Oh, nice.
Big one.
Big one.
And now this guy is so big. I have a string here. I'm going to put more across. I'm going to start just clipping him or wrapping him around these strings and take him sideways.
Okay.
So I will have trusses of tomatoes hanging down from the tomato, from the string. So in a couple weeks, it's going to be really cool in here. But I just have to do this to like, I don't know, 80 tomatoes.
All right.
Going to be a long day.
Well, now you have a little breeze.
Yes, there's a natural breeze started, plus with the fans going, it's bearable.
Hopefully the sound isn't terrible.
I'm going to
with the
make
noise.
sure I drink plenty today.
Yeah. But it's like this every day in the summer in here in the tunnel.
Not this bad.
Well, it's just really muggy
Yeah,
today.
yeah. So, but the stuff needs done, so you got to do it.
Hey, I saw that hurricane that's in the Gulf of Mexico. It's headed up the Mississippi and up to the northeast.
So we're going to get some rain.
Yeah.
We need some.
And it's not just us. I think the whole eastern
I think we all need
U.S.
it.
needs rain.
What video we do? Just the day on the homestead, we were hoping for rain. We got like 3 inches, almost
Yeah.
3 inches in one day. But now that was how, 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago? Nothing since.
I noticed that some of your comments in the last video saying, I think it was even Tennessee and other parts of the country, just
Oh
how
yes,
bad it is.
yes. Well, and they're in the heat wave too. The heat wave and no rain. So I mean, the gardens can really start struggling. You know,
Yeah.
well, and people.
Yeah.
But just look, these are just, I love these. And the great thing about being organic, get a snack while you're working.
There you go.
So I need to get a bunch of string and start stringing across. So the ones that reach the top, I can
All right.
take them sideways.
Okay. Well,
boy.
I might come back when you're done.
Okay, sounds good. Or you can help me.
Okay, I'll put the camera down and help you.
If he does, I'll take a picture. Well, we have all the fans going. Hopefully you can still hear me. This is an example of a sucker that I cut off and just stuck in the ground. I have a tomato plant. Now I kind of forgot about him, so I need to come along and trim him up, trim the suckers up, and tie him up. But look, I'm gonna have a tomato plant. He already has little tomatoes on him. I probably did that maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. And now
Cool.
I just broke the top off of one of mine trying to bend it a little too far. So I'm gonna do the same thing with him. Dig a big hole down, stick him in, right by the drip tape. And look, he already has tomatoes on. I'll probably take them off now since he's so small.
And these will be indeterminate,
Yes.
even though they're
So he'll grow and
snipped
grow
off.
and grow. When these start getting sick or dying or whatever, I'll have new ones coming. Because I don't have time to start seeds and it wouldn't do very well.
Yeah.
So I'll just dig a big hole down in the ground, just a real thin hole, stick him in, or her, and push the soil back around. And we'll see if it grows. If it doesn't, I have nothing to lose, but I'm going to be taking this one out. He's a sick tomato. So there's not going to be a tomato there.
Yeah.
So,
Huh.
in gardening, it's a lot of plan B. This doesn't work, so you try that. And it's lots of experiments. Experiments and hard work. So, back to clipping off suckers and clipping up leaves. And I have my helper here. I have a girl working with me 2 days a week, 2 mornings a week, Ava. She's a hard worker. I would be drowning without her.
And she knows what she's doing.
She really knows what she's doing. She likes gardening. So I'm very thankful for her. She's helping me take care of my tomatoes today. So there's a lot to take care of. Well, that made for a long morning in the tunnel, including a couple changes of clothes because I sweated through them. But we got a lot done. We picked tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, tons of flowers, and even some sunflower seeds to feed to the chickens. But now I'm ready to go into the air conditioning. So, hope you enjoyed the tour and maybe learned something or have some suggestions for me. And we will see you in our next video. Bye-bye.